Are we recording?
We are now.
Are we doing this?
We
All
are
right.
now.
What in the hell are you guys smoking? Let's talk about something. Holy hell.
It's called.
Will, do me a favor, Will. Slide down your gain about a notch, though. Maybe a notch and a half.
Is mine the blue one?
Yours should be number 3. Yeah.
Third one. Yeah. There you go.
All
Is
right.
that better?
I don't know. I want to know till you're in front of the mic.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
All right.
We'll get these.
Yeah, we'll
Get
get it.
these bugs kicked
Listen, we're working on it.
Yeah.
So we rolling?
Yeah.
We're
Listen,
rolling deep
but
down.
you're finally smoking the Bewitched.
I am finally smoking the Bewitched.
Is it lit? Do you know anything about it yet? How is it?
It is not lit.
Oh,
Uh,
toast that bitch.
It's gonna get. I wanted to wait and kind of let you guys know. Or anyway.
All right,
I wanted to wait.
We're going to do the whiskeys first before we go cigars. So we have our little whiskey game. The John J. Bowman Single Barrel, the E.H. Taylor Small Batch, and the Four Roses Single Barrel, all of which I believe are 100 proof. So in theory, we're tasting 100 proofers.
All right. I like a good 100 proofer.
No, you don't.
It's not hot.
You like a good 36 proofer.
That's malt liquor. I don't need no malt liquor.
Casey and his Fireball. That's what we're doing here. See how that works?
Casey.
You want some Fireball?
You want some Fireball?
No, I don't want any Fireball. You're crazy. I want to drink whiskey and talk about. Are you guys gonna talk about comics? I can just sit here and drink whiskey and not pay attention.
Nah. You can pay attention.
Okay, if I have to.
I feel like you have some 2 cents to offer.
Yeah.
I don't know that it might be exactly 2 cents.
2 cents is better than nothing.
All right, you guys got to start though, because I don't know where we want to start on this
I
thing.
don't know what the fuck Will wants to talk about.
Well, I mean, so
You wanted to talk about it last week, but it was like at the end of what we'd already been talking about for 2 hours. So
yeah, I mean,
what was it that caught your mind?
so basically, I had been watching a 40-minute interview of Eddie Murphy and Jerry Seinfeld, and the topic came up of comedians that had basically trailblazed the way for the current comedians. So
So which current comedians?
I
Are we
would
talking
say,
like the today's comedians.
Yeah.
Like the Kevin Harts.
yeah. I mean, it set the stage for
Those guys.
those guys. But if you think about it, you go back. Charlie Chaplin. We were talking about this earlier. Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin's not a comedian.
Right. But he was more slapstick, right? And he was silent film slapstick.
He was kind of a comedian.
Well, but you have to differentiate though.
For stand up versus like
Yeah, I mean when you're talking about comedians.
vaudeville slapstick.
Yeah, slapstick is its own genre.
Well, but in an era where films didn't have noise,
True.
they were doing what they had to work with.
I agree with that.
And
but-
so so let's get out of the silent film.
But Chaplin wouldn't be. Chaplin's not instrumental in stand-up comedy or comics as you know them.
No, that's fair.
But he was, so there weren't really stand-up comics back then at that point. There was Charlie Chaplin, silent movie, making fun of what he was doing,
Well, so
somewhat slapstick.
What's the Chaplin year? What's the era? 1930s, 1920s.
30s,
Well, I think it was before the 30s, wasn't it?
20s and
I think it was
30s,
10s and 20s.
10s.
Okay.
Go back that far too.
Yeah, I mean you didn't have stand-up comics back then for sure.
I mean, if you look at what Robert Downey Jr. did with the Charlie Chaplin movie, there was some comedic stuff going
Yeah,
on.
is who's the first sort of modern style? Like, who's the godfather of stand-up comedy? Is that Red Fox?
Technically,
Yeah. I would
mean-
go back that
I
far
mean,
for sure.
You could say Red Fox.
But Jonathan Winters was before Red Fox. And then before that, you had Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, but they don't care. Like, so here's the thing, right? Like, where do we graduate from vaudeville comedy and sort of like shticks into
To like actual stand-up comedy.
yeah, like the different like okay, you remember the comedian on you guys saw Boardwalk Empire, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Parts
Okay.
of it.
Yeah. So the sort of everything entertainer through most of the show, like he performs in their club all the time, but he sings and then tells these like random, quick little, 5-word one-liners.
Well, that's kind of like Sammy Davis Jr. and
Like-
D. Martin.
Yeah, so
No, but that's
That's much
When-
further on
when-
in
when
the
is
line.
time-
well, but even their jokes were graduated beyond this. Like this is like one step above dad jokes. Like these quick delivery, like no build up, like there's no plot, no climax, no punchline. It's just this like quick punchline and out. And I feel like that predates. Like that's what came before what we would consider modern stand-up comedy.
Right. So Don Rickles and Jonathan Winters, those guys had the quick one-liners. They had Don Rickles was kind of like going on and on. So it wasn't really quick, but each bit of statement kind of led into the next one, and he commented in that regards. So I'm just looking at.
Just put that anywhere. It was gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, well, it might even happen again. But I'm looking back at one of the things I totally missed last time we were talking was Lucille Ball, definitely a comic. She actually did some stand-up. So stand-up actually was back in the 60s?
I would say what we consider modern sort of
Richard Pryor.
stand-up
No, it's got to be before Pryor. Come on.
is stems from the late 50s, early 60s.
And who were the strong comedians of that era?
Well, so from
Lucille Ball.
the documentary that I watched that touched on this was I'm pretty sure it's Bill Cosby.
Yes. I missed him.
I
Yeah.
think Bill Cosby
He was.
he came up with the sort of everyman's comic, right? He didn't curse, but he would stand up in front of an audience. He told jokes. Like that's kind of the first iteration because Richard Pryor copied Bill Cosby before he became Richard Pryor.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you watch Richard Pryor's very first works, like when he's first coming out, he basically is just doing Bill Cosby.
Okay.
And at some point, somebody said, "What are you doing? You're just doing Bill Cosby. You need to do you." And that's where the change happens. But that's like the 70s is where the change changes.
Okay.
Red Fox is definitely in the 50s and 60s too. He's the like the family friendly version is Bill Cosby. The down on the streets Boondocks Harlem Nights guy is Red Fox.
So, okay, I can go with that. A comic that came to mind before I say the modern era of stand-up was George Carlin, but he was definitely a word guy. He was based on.
George Carlin did the same thing.
You think
I-
he
you
did
know-
Bill Cosby?
I'm actually not a huge fan of George Carlin.
Okay.
And I know that's sacrilege to say in the comedy world.
It's not.
Not
The
really.
people that come in and they're like, George Carlin is brilliant. I'm like, well, George Carlin was a brilliant comedian. I don't know that he was brilliant in the realm of politics, which is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his political take is not genius in any way. It's basically just every war is a big cock and balls joke. And,
Yeah, I mean, he wants, like, people come in and they talk about George Carlin like he's a guru of some modern way of carrying oneself.
I mean, to me, Carlin was a wordsmith, and he just made being a wordsmith funny.
I don't know that he was even a wordsmith.
He was very cerebral with his.
No,
comedy.
he wasn't. It sounds cerebral. It's incredibly superficial. This is one of my problems with him.
Yeah, that's not. You're using cerebral the wrong way.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely not cerebral.
So
The thing that Carlin has is he is in your face, and he came out at a time where nobody was in your face.
well, he came. I think he came in during the '70s, right?
Yeah, so
And
he's
Watergate.
He's part of the movement of using foul language, and
When he was sort of
basically
just talking about the world and what's happening and
yeah.
pointing out, intricacies and nuance and whatever. Except it wasn't that nuance. Like it was very first level.
It's
It was
very
funny, but it
observational.
wasn't intelligent in the way people give him credit for.
Okay. I mean, I don't agree with that, but that's okay. I mean, that's my opinion. Is Carlin was, I enjoyed his work
No,
very much.
I mean, he's intelligent that he was saying things that people weren't willing to say in public yet, but they weren't deep. They were just shocking.
And for the time.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't go through and research like geopolitical analysts. Like, he didn't have any idea what he was talking about, really.
Yeah, he's very observational.
Yeah, he's definitely observational.
It's all observational from his point of view.
His observations are things that you could get off TV.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they're ironies that he developed by watching the news, not by being involved in the process or understanding what was actually happening.
But he was satirical in that regard.
Yeah, but that doesn't make him intelligent.
Okay.
Not in the way that people give him credit for.
But he was smart enough to make it you know what I'm saying? Trying to say.
He was witty enough to make it funny.
He had wit.
Would I have
Definitely.
put him in a position in the White House? 100% no.
No, of course not.
But this is what people give him credit for. Like, they present George Carlin like he could have been the Secretary of State.
Oh, no.
And you're like, knock it off.
No, I
get what you're saying.
I wouldn't get there. I wouldn't go there. Yeah.
No, George Carlin is like I hate to say it this way, but he's the white guy version of Richard Pryor. He did basically the exact same thing. When you first saw George Carlin,
Well, I think
he
George
wore
Carlin.
a suit. He wasn't using foul language. His jokes were very simple.
Well, when he started, he was doing studio bits, right?
For one of the late night shows.
Yeah.
I think it's Johnny Carson, but I'm not sure. But he wore a suit and a tie, and his jokes were very family friendly. And he also made that jump where you basically looked at yourself and you said, "This isn't the '60s anymore. This isn't the Rat Pack era. I need to change my level of like what I'm performing." Right? The art had to change.
Right.
And so that's where the '70s is where Carlin laid down the groundwork for white dudes to come out and basically say whatever they wanted to say. Didn't matter if it was accurate. Didn't matter if it was politically correct. You know, it's a very broad stroke from the suit-wearing Rat Pack era, right? And that's what George Carlin did. He laid that groundwork. Richard Pryor did the same thing. He said, we don't all have to be Bill Cosby coming in the back door. We can be our own motherfuckers and do whatever we want. And that's those two guys essentially laid the groundwork for modern day comedy to get to a point when it was in its heyday, which I think was the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I mean, when he came up with the 7 words that you can't say on TV, I mean, that was pretty.
Yeah, see, the problem with that comic, I always have a problem with that bit. And it's because it needs to be reworded. Those are the 7 words you can't say on American TV.
Well, and
'Cause
didn't
in
he
British
really
TV,
just?
You can say that.
Didn't he really just steal that out of the policies and procedures manual from whatever show he was on TV before that?
Yeah, it was the mandated guides from the FAA.
Yeah,
Or
the FEC,
FEC.
not the FEC. I forget the acronym.
The federal whatever information TV people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically just the table of contents of all the words you can't say. That's all he's reading.
Which I'm not opposed to taking a bit from there, but I don't know.
Well,
I listened to him and
It's
So-
not groundbreaking.
So he kind of illuminated the absurdity of politics and words being used in the not the community, but being used by the general public. I mean, the general public was foul far before he's picked up that bit.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean. That he opened the door for people to be that way on stage.
right,
That's what he did.
right.
Other than that, he didn't do anything.
Do you think he and Pryor, or maybe this is probably a question that I don't have an answer for, is he and Pryor in the same decade?
Yeah, they're about the same time.
Okay.
They're about the same. Like I said, they're basically the same guy,
Right.
but just for basically, you're coming off the '60s. You're coming off of segregation.
well, and
Well,
grown
I-
out of different experience too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, different but similar, right? Like, because they both did the TV show, wear a suit, be nice and friendly on TV, and then turned around and said, fuck that. I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be me, and if the world doesn't like me, fuck them.
And he's going to go on tour and do, situations.
Like Carlin's first stuff is rough. It's hard to listen to. So is the first 3 Richard Pryor albums they're okay, but they're not Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor hit when he came out and did Live on Sunset Strip. Like that is the stand up.
So
that right there.
So let's go back a little bit before that with Red Fox was around.
Right.
And I think he gave birth to Flip Wilson. Because Flip Wilson was definitely stand-up, much like Bill Cosby was, but he was definitely from a different aspect. And I think it was more the same aspect that Richard Pryor ended up doing. It's like honky, you can't, and Cracker. I don't know if Cracker was way back then, but
Cracker's an old term.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. So Flip Wilson was the kinder, not as poignant in regards to the racial separation of white and black. He did the black bend on comedy.
Yes.
So
he also got kicked out of a lot of places for doing that too.
Yeah.
which is sad, but
yeah.
He definitely got axed from a lot of places. Red Fox did too.
Yeah.
So did Richard Pryor.
Well, I think Red Fox is. I'm trying to remember the name of the show, but he was a junkyard man, and I think because of his presentation of whatever is what got his show canceled.
I believe that's.
It was
true.
just a little too outside the box for ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. But you can't in this conversation. You can't. You can't. What can't you do? You can't forget about the Minnie Pearl and the Red Skelton and Lucille Ball.
I think maybe when I say Red Fox, I'm thinking Red Skelton.
Are you?
I think maybe I am.
Red Skelton, the clown?
I don't know.
He was a clown. He had his own show.
No, I'm thinking Red Fox.
Red Fox had his own show too.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to say that he didn't.
But still, realistically, as good as those guys are, right?
Right. But they laid the groundwork for the Seinfeld and for.
Well, yeah. You gotta talk about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Because Seinfeld changed TV.
Yes.
As a comedian. Comedian first, TV guy second.
Yeah, he actually was more of a sitcom guy. For a long time, just doing himself too.
Well, yeah, but he also was a stand-up comedian first.
Sure. Yes, he absolutely was.
I think that's not really fair to say he was a sitcom guy, only because
New York's just that funny.
Well, and because Seinfeld became Seinfeld, right? Like basically the most popular show on TV since MASH.
Yes, exactly.
And if Friends hadn't come around, probably the most popular TV show on TV for a while.
Friends is funny. It took 7 people to master what 4 people did.
Right.
For 2 decades before that.
Or even just one, because Dreyfus and what was the other guy's name?
You thinking George Costanza?
Yeah, Costanza's.
And the one guy who got canceled for being crazy.
Yeah, the
guy that played Kramer.
Kramer.
Yeah.
The guy who played Kramer. And he actually didn't last long on the circuit as well because of how crass and foul he was.
The thing they don't, I think is unknown for a lot of people. Being a stand-up comic is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking terrible.
It's demoralizing.
Well, it's not just that, but it's hard. You're talking about living in your car and driving to shit bar after shit bar for 50 people who don't give a shit and are going to throw beers at you, which is why you need chicken wire around the damn stage, like
Yeah.
fucking Roadhouse.
You're gonna spend a lot of time making no money.
Yeah,
Yes.
or enough money to get you to the next gig. In essence, that someone hopefully picks you up and lets you open for them, and then maybe you're good enough to be your own person after that. But that process is just, I mean, it's a rough circuit.
Absolutely.
For
Now,
sure.
what about Al Franken?
What about-
Al Franken is now a politician. I mean, yeah, he was a crazy nutbag.
Jesse the Body Ventura
Yeah.
is a politician.
100%. Like,
I believe Kennedy said it best. He said even a lowly peanut farmer can be president. Granted,
Yeah.
he was making fun of Jimmy Carter.
Right.
he was. But I mean, at this point, Donald Trump's been president. So
Yeah, and he's a TV celebrity, so Ronald Reagan, the actor.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but
not.
let's-
Have you ever seen any of Ronald Reagan's work? Not terribly good.
no.
The last movie he did before president is passable.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, his big role in the film industry wasn't that he was an actor. It's that he was the president of the Screen Actors Guild, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
He was political even when he was an actor.
Yes. Yeah, his westerns are terrible.
Yeah.
But if you go to the museum in California, you can sit on the saddle next to him from one of his movies and take a picture.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it wax?
It's like a sculpted. It's not wax. It's like a hard porcelain statue.
Oh.
He sits next to you. Basically, he's waving.
Isn't that a little creepy?
It's a little creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a picture next to him. I'm proud of it.
Well, this devolved quickly.
Yes. I mean, so, Casey.
Yes.
You're probably more in tune with the current stand-ups that are going on.
Well, I mean, you have, you have a sort of, I don't know, stand-up comedy is weird these days. It's not how it used to be.
Right. I mean,
Like think about we used to have that very fantastic telethon.
oh, Jerry Lewis,
No,
No.
not Jerry Lewis. Fuck.
another comic,
No, we had the what was it?
comedic actor.
It was the Laugh for Charity TV show. It was hosted by Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, and Robin Williams forever.
Oh.
Every year they used to do the telethon.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I never saw that, and I saw it brought up in the Robin Williams thing.
Really? So that's legitimately what helped Dave Chappelle get popular.
Really?
Yeah.
His one of his best skits is actually told at one of those telethon laugh out loud. Like, it was a really good platform to show brand new comedians.
No, I just remember Whoopi Goldberg and Billy Crystal
Yep.
are there, and fucking
Robin
they're talking about Robin Williams shows up, and they go, "What the do we do
Yeah.
with this guy?"
How- yeah.
Basically, that
Yeah.
was Robin Williams is what made that.
Yeah.
Because it was 3 or 4 hours of let's just watch Robin Williams mess with everybody he can,
Do improv essentially.
and basically just phone in and spend $10.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of money.
So
they're
after
pretty good.
those guys, there's Sarah Silverman. She was, she's
Well, you get today's comics, you've got,
Gaffigan.
you got Jim Gaffigan, you've got Kevin Hart, you've got.
I've never been a big Kevin Hart guy.
Well, that's the thing is there's this thing about comedians now, and it's some of them are afraid to be comedians.
Well, and
What do you mean by that?
Well, because cancel culture is the thing. You don't see Bill Burr anymore, right? Because basically he just said some shit that people didn't agree with, and they got offended.
I feel like some of them are scared comedians in the same way that some politicians are scared, and that they live with their base. They're basically being funny to the lowest common denominator of their market.
Yeah, they are, and then they get tired of that. And some of them are really smart, and the jokes just don't hit.
Yeah.
But the problem too now is everybody's trying to be like Dave Chappelle, and they just need to knock that off because no one's Dave Chappelle.
Remember,
Dave Chappelle.
there's a guy that ended up being blackballed or cut off from doing comedy because of his sexual endeavors.
That's a whole nother
That-
fucking.
So
can
Bag of
worms.
Dicks. He was known for the Bag of Dicks.
Is that Louis?
Not Louis.
What, like Louis Anderson.
No, not it wasn't Louis
Didn't
Anderson.
he get popped for some sort of sexual deviance?
Yeah, but I think that was on Family Feud, not for his stand-up.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think there were some sexual allegations from Family Feud hosting.
Well, this guy was pretty popular for. He came up.
You talking about Louis C.K.?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, his jokes were on a level where you were like, that guy does bad things to people.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have to agree.
You know,
Oh, my God.
well, and that's the story too, and it's told by anybody who's a stand-up comedy. Is stand-up comedians are the most twisted souls you will ever meet. Like, that comedy comes from lots and lots of pain.
Well, that's not just comedians though.
No,
that's almost every artist.
Character building artists, musicians.
I mean, how many writers are just the stories of like Hemingway? They're
So-
tragic.
Yeah.
Some of the TV writers or the writers for TV and shows have gone into being stand-up comedians.
And vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
But
You
I-
know who we haven't mentioned? Steve Martin.
What about Steve Martin?
I mean, as far as it goes, he's pretty freaking notorietous.
I sort of just lump him in with the first generation of all those guys that came out. Like all of the guys that I remember.
From the 1980s Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Belushi.
Yeah. Think about the greatest years of Saturday Night Live, and there's the best comedians. And that's the end of the argument.
Yeah.
Because you can't make an argument after that.
Well, I mean,
No,
so
you
they
can't make an
produced.
argument after that.
So they produced a shitload and are still producing a shitload of comics. I mean,
SNL. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
terrible now.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't-
wasn't very good then.
What?
It's hard comedy to do anyway.
Yeah, but
skits and this and that.
Pete Davidson, Hannibal Burrs.
I mean, I honestly,
Yep.
I stopped watching SNL a long time ago.
Oh, so
You're
have I
you're
a long
missing
time
much.
ago.
You're not missing much, except for the news one with Cullen and the other guy.
Well, and Dana Carvey.
What about Dana Carvey?
I mean, he was a part of the SNL group that,
Yeah,
you know.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
He's already part of that.
Yeah, except he took one of those roles that's like, he was Dana Carvey and then he was Garth.
Yes. And
Bobcat Goldthwait.
before or after the medicine?
Before the medicine.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. After the medicine, not as funny.
Not as funny, no.
Oh my God. How are your guys' cigars?
Cigars
we didn't
great.
even really talk about what you're smoking. So you're smoking the Dunbarton Westerday Saka Bewitched,
Bewitched.
which is
yes.
like 3 years ago's annual release.
Was it 3 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's fantastic.
Oh no, it's beautiful. This Bewitched, I like better than Exclusivo.
Yeah, that's my favorite of all the ones that I've had of his so far.
This is
And it's probably top 15 of like what I would choose to smoke if I had a humidor of everything.
That's fair. That's fair.
And-
Because it is a really good cigar.
How's that Avo that I've never seen before?
The Alvo Springtime Special.
spring. Avo 2023 Spring Seasonal.
Yeah, is very good so far. Milder than I thought it would be.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, it's a little mild.
You didn't get that off the floral notes before you lit it?
I still have the floral notes, and they're okay. I was just hoping for more from the wrapper.
Did we ever figure out what the... That's fair.
Yeah, because the
I
wrapper
could see that.
is that Ecuadorian wrapper should have that flavor to it.
Yeah.
And
but
that
it's,
doesn't.
But it's also 14 years aged.
one of the
so-
things I like about Ecuadorian wrappers, though, is that they're always a little understated. They're full of flavor, but they're not too bold.
I can go with that.
They're a
Yeah.
little bit more delicate than you get from a Nicaraguan wrapper.
No, and this one it has the floral notes, and then it finishes with the coffee
Okay.
on the back end, which is actually kind of
Interesting.
And I'm smoking this Monty 1935, which is fantastic.
Nicaraguan money.
Yeah, it's just a big
Bold.
traditional Nicaraguan cigar.
It really is just like, hey, I'm from Nicaragua. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. It's like, and I didn't know Monty could do that. They're like, here we go.
Yeah, I want to know where they stole that tobacco from.
Yeah, that's-
Someone's farm is missing a warehouse full of like they went to the bar and went, "Ay Dios mío, we've been robbed." El benditos.
No, right? It tastes like a lot of other top of the line Nicaraguan cigars.
Yes.
It's just right there.
Yeah. Some people smoked that and went, "Who snitched?
Yeah.
Who snitched?"
Which one of you took our blend and walked it across the street?
Fucking call AJ right now. I want to know where he was last night. I want to know what he was wearing.
No, but it's really good.
No,
Yeah.
that's
I
good.
think all three of these cigars are really sweet cigars.
That's seriously one of my favorite cigars right
I
now.
mean, it's so
really good.
Yeah.
it's got flavor and it's smooth.
I wasn't sure you'd like it. I thought it might not be bold enough for you.
It is a step down from what I usually smoke.
But there's a ton, like
this
it's
is
complex for the flavors that it has.
Yeah.
And it's not so bold that any one flavor blows out the others.
Right. I
That's-
mean, you
that's
could have. I mean, you could almost put this in the hands of a guy who's just beginning to smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you what notes I'm getting or anything of that nature. It's an enjoyable smoke from the beginning.
Oh yeah. We'll see. So, because we made the deal, we would each only smoke 2 of those.
Right.
Because it's a 7-count box, which is annoying. But when we open the next round of boxes, we get 2 more,
Oh,
and I will definitely be smoking one of those.
yeah. I
Right.
want to try the other 2 as well.
I still haven't tried. There's one I haven't tried yet. I haven't tried the Nakatamale yet.
Okay.
No, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So I would almost just smoke 2 of those, but I want to smoke the Nakatamale.
That's fair.
And what's the other one? The Nakatamale and
There's the Nakata. We have the
no
Nakata.
common valor.
Is it
Stolen
Stolen Valor?
Stolen Valor, Nakatamale.
Which he calls because he blends all of these.
Okay.
Except the Stolen Valor, he did a competition with one of his roller/blenders. And they each rolled one, and then they put it to the group. And the roller/blenders won. So he calls it Stolen Valor.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That
So-
one was good too, though. They're all good.
They're all good. They're not bad.
But so far, that's my favorite. But I haven't had the Nakatamale yet. So, and I'm smoking both of those in the next round.
I mean, and one of the things I want to say is that I'm in my 3rd cigar here. I mean,
Yeah.
I've smoked an Upman, I've smoked a League of 9, and this cigar is awesome,
That's
beautiful.
it's actually really disappointing. This is my 2nd cigar of the day.
Whoa! Now smoked by Will.
Yeah, that's. That
Uh,
hurts
Well, that's
a little
okay.
bit.
I mean, we got an
That
early
hurts.
start on this. I mean, early in the morning.
This is my 4th cigar of the day
The fuck?
because I smoked at Fumari,
That's
How the
right.
fuck do you guys? What bullshit?
You smoked
and
a
I
Verdun?
had. No, I didn't at Fumari. Believe it or not, because the room was full of
Yeah.
the Dion
Those
sycophants.
people,
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I decided to once again go to the Illusion wall and pick one out.
This is
No.
blasphemy right here.
No.
Yeah, I found one that was smokable. I'm not willing to say it was good,
I should add flames.
but
Section of
but it wasn't bad,
Okay.
Inquisition in the back, like repent.
and it wasn't that expensive. It was only like $11 or something.
So it wasn't that bad. Out of how many different cigars does he make?
This is the 5th time I've tried his cigars, and it's the only one I've ever finished.
Yeah, but, I mean, how many
he
different-
makes one for every day of the year.
That wall is massive.
It really is.
He's got so many different bands at this point.
Yeah.
There's got to be 40 different bands, plus 3 to 4 sizes for each one in his humidor. I mean, he owns the brand, so why not? But there's a lot of them.
Yes. There's a
And most of them, like the traditional bands, like the 88 and the 888, I can't go anywhere near. They say it's got an anise note to it, and to me it just tastes sour. And I like anise a lot. First of all, they're lying, because I adore anise. Black licorice and me get along great, and those cigars are not good.
So I mean, what I have found is his early works were better than what he's currently putting out.
Well, so this one was part of his all Nicaraguan series. This was, and I was gonna smoke the upgrade. I was gonna smoke the Hout 10, but I did for whatever reason I didn't want to. I wasn't about to spend, real money on an Illusion cigar yet, so I did the downgraded version. But it was passable. It was a real cigar. Casey, I feel like you're walking
Yes.
through some of the whiskeys.
I sipped one.
Oh, so far?
Just one?
What did you think
Just
off
one.
the nose?
It's very floral-y.
See,
I'm on C, by the way.
You've
Picked up C, and I think C has a floral note to it.
okay.
okay.
So I've never smoked or I've never had the John J. Bowman before, in any version.
Oh.
And I've had the Four Roses. I've had like maybe half an ounce of the Four Roses
Okay.
ever.
Yeah, because we just got that bottle.
Yeah, and I'd never tried it before that. So I've only had the E.H. Taylor small batch once.
Oh, okay.
So all of these are relatively new to me.
I'm excited
Okay.
that we got a bottle of the E.H. Taylor to try.
You know, it's funny is before we were setting up, I was talking with a guy from Dallas. Whoops. I was that was me.
Yeah, I realized that. As soon as I
Okay.
saw your hand, I was like, what the?
Yeah.
Do we need to evacuate the building? What's happening right now?
No, Will just fucked everything up there.
So he'd thrown some names out of stuff that I know that I believe I know that you guys have done some taste tests on. Weller, Woodford.
Yes and yes.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't remember what the third one was.
I mean, there's a lot of
Oh,
options.
Willett.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there was a fourth one, I'm sure. But yeah, it was interesting.
He's definitely in the W category
Yeah.
of bourbons and
Yeah,
ryes.
did you skip A through W and just start on W?
I have no idea what he was doing.
So yeah.
I mean, there's only one Woodford that I like so far, and that's the Double Oak. But I do have,
small batch.
at some point, we will taste in here the historic Barrel Entry Masters collection that was released this year, which is supposed to be pretty good. It's supposed to be the best low-proof Masters collection they've done.
Okay.
So we'll taste that one. Weller, I've had a bunch of the Wellers. I haven't had the Antique 107 or the 12. I've had the CYPB and I've had the Special Reserve, and I wanted a backup bottle because I don't want to open it, but I have a bottle of the Full Proof, which I'm desperate to try because it's supposed to be very good. Willet is better known for their ryes than their bourbons. They did like an 8-year wheated bourbon. They call them Purple Tops. That's their special releases are Purple Tops
Okay.
because they have a purple foil on the top, and it just tanked. I mean, the retail on that bottle is like $250 before that gets marked up.
Retail?
Yeah, and then it gets marked up to like $800 to $1,000, and everyone pretty much across the board was like, not worth it.
Yeah.
But their ryes, when they come out with like the aged, because their standard rye, which they say is a limited release, but it's the one you see everywhere, is a 4-year, which is good. I don't think it's great, but people like it a lot.
Right.
But they're aged like 6, 7, 8 years. They've done a couple really high age ryes that are supposed to be fantastic. But I don't drink a lot of Willet, and their pot still bourbon is like very middle of the road.
Okay.
Very,
So-
very hit and miss.
So you want to get into the ABs of what he was talking about?
Yeah, sure.
So I don't have an A, but the B is Blanton's. And he said, it's good, but it's not worth what you pay for it.
Well, it's worth what I pay for it.
If you find it in the right place, it can be worth it.
I mean, it's much better than an average bourbon. People are annoyed by it because everyone chases that stupid bottle and the stupid little pewter horsey on top, and people are paying $300, $400, $500 for a bottle that, if I saw it under 75,
That
I
low.
would probably buy it.
I was going to go 65.
That low. Okay.
65, $70 is about as much as I
Like
pay
if
for
you
that.
if you pay 60 for that, and I was getting those bottles from a guy who was selling them to me for cost. I was paying $43 or something.
Wow.
At $43, it's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Very
still have
much
his
so.
number, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can still pull some strings. Although right now I'm hoping he gets me something else, so I'm not asking for the Blantons.
Ah.
Because
Well,
we
yeah.
still haven't, Nevada still hasn't seen the Stag Batch 19 yet, and I'm hoping he'll sell me one of those for retail.
Interesting.
Because otherwise, I'm definitely not paying the $500-600 those bottles are going for marked up.
So, you mentioned earlier, or just a few minutes ago, the little guy statue on top of the bottle.
It's a pewter
It's
horse.
a horse. It's and a jockey.
Okay. Is that so? You were talking with Jeff last week about, and he wanted you to show him how to unwrap that bottle. So,
Yeah, it's got a little. It looks like it's got these two little tongues that hang off,
Right.
like bits of a tie almost.
Okay.
And it almost looks like it's part of the part of the top, and it's not. It's really just a more ornate version of like pulling the pull tab
Okay.
to pull the wax or the foil off.
Right.
But if you've never opened a bottle before, I can see where you look at it and you're like, is that how I do it?
So, but you mentioned that they were collector bottles with the different.
Yeah, because each one has a different letter. So each one's different. Not each one. There's 6, right? Or 7?
The apostrophe counts as
No, because it's part of the.
part of the-
Well, it's a second N.
right. So then, there's 6.
And each one's a little different, and they've got a little letter on it. So it spells out Blanton's, BLANTO, and then the second N has a little semicolon or colon or whatever, and then S.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
It just makes a silly. I googled it. It's a silly little statue.
No, it's not. Well, yeah, on the barrel stave.
Yeah, on the.
Or did you see the retail glorifier that they made?
No,
where it's in a.
I just saw the one on the stave.
Yeah, so you can send them all when you get them all. You can send them off to Buffalo Trace, and they mount them
oh, okay.
on a barrel stave and send them back to you
Yeah.
Nice.
for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. It really is pretty good bourbon. It gets a bad rap because of what it is and how much people pay for it, but it's pretty good.
Good.
It's low proof, which for the guys that start drinking really high end bourbon gets it knocked down because they want 110 above, and it's 90ish. I think it might be it.
It's in my wheelhouse of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
a
and
little
you've had
smoother.
it. You liked it a lot.
I like Blanton's a lot.
Yeah.
I like the bottle though too.
It is a cool bottle.
The bottle is cool.
I'm not going to diminish the marketing of it.
Like, and now that I know what the bottle looks like, I can see it everywhere,
Yeah.
especially in Justified.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Justified
I'm
was
like-
great for
I'm
bourbons.
like, Blanton's right there.
They-
Blanton's.
They drank Wild Turkey. They drank Russell's. They drank Blanton's. They drank Pappy. They drank Elmer T. Lee. Yeah, Justified. They drank great bourbon in Justified, or acted like they were drinking great bourbon in Justified.
Yes, it was not actual bourbon.
Didn't
but,
someone actually take that bourbon home?
Timothy Oliphant kept all of the Blantons
Did he?
for every bottle they had to pour out and put in. It's either tea or Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Just depends on who is drinking, because some people prefer to Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Timothy Oliphant made sure that no Blantons was harmed in the making of Justified.
I mean, I appreciate
and
that.
I think the guy who plays Boyd took all of the
Elmer T. Lee and the
Elmer T.
Pappy.
Lee and the Pappy, yeah.
So Walter Goggin,
Yes, the Gogginator.
the Gogginator.
Who he makes that. Listen, I think Justified's great, but I don't know that it's the same show without him.
Without Boyd Crowder.
No,
Yeah.
definitely the
They're-
two there, Timothy Oliphant and Goggin, definitely worked well together.
That's
Yeah.
the one thing I'm a little disappointed about.
Is that he's not coming back
Is
for?
I don't think he's in the new season of Justified,
Yeah.
because I don't think he's going to go to Chicago. There's like no reason to take him to Chicago
Yeah.
unless he's trying to take over the mob or something.
Yeah, like what's he doing in Chicago?
Yeah, it's
What
just-
story makes that make sense?
Yeah, unless he's partnered with Raylan. Like Raylan's like, I need someone who's a criminal. You're
Yeah.
coming with me.
I need a CI. I need a plant.
Yeah,
You're my plant.
I need a skinhead plant.
So, Casey,
Yes, Willie.
have you tasted all three?
I just tasted B,
Okay.
and I was gonna try A. B was a little spicy there.
Yeah. The reason why I was asking because I wanted to see how you guys ranked them.
Ah.
Dead air.
Oh.
Gotta
Yeah, I think
love
that's-
that dead air.
I'm tasting it. I think I know what I'm doing.
Ooh.
My guesses, the guesses are basically random at this point, but I think my ranking is solid.
Oh, that's. I like that. It's in the nose, for sure.
You don't need to blow it. It's very clear. Cleared it right out.
It was a little bit in the nose, for me.
Yeah. A's got more spice to it.
Yeah, that's I think that's why it came up in the nose.
Yeah.
B also had some heat to it though,
Yeah.
and then I think C was the easiest one to go down, for sure.
I think that's probably right.
So it's roses, EH, and the last one was what?
John
John J. Bowman single
John
barrel.
J. Bowman.
J. Bowman single. All right, this is a crapshoot. I'm gonna go with A. Is the John J. Bowman. B is the E.H. Taylor, and C is the Four Roses.
Okay. Say that again, please.
A,
Mm-hmm.
the John J. Bowman. B, E.H. Taylor, and C, Four Roses. But I can't tell you why. It's just my gut. Also, I think the floral notes from the Four Roses.
Well, what's your favorite?
My favorite is C because it was the easiest to drink.
Okay.
So I would go CAB
I think I'm actually going to go with the same order.
as my choice for the order of which I would drink.
Okay. And you go in the same order?
Yeah. I
Really?
think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn your palate. This is mind games.
These are valuable skills to have.
I
So
am-
wait, what are you guessing for which is which?
So, A, to John J. Bowman.
Okay.
B, E.H. Taylor. And C, Four Roses.
Okay.
But I like Four Roses as C, as my favorite. I like A with John J. Taylor second. And I think the E.H. Taylor is good, but it's my third choice.
Lane?
I think so. Same ranking. CAB.
Uh-huh.
I think C is Taylor. I think A is Four Roses, and I think B is Bowman.
Damn it.
But again, I've had each of these maybe one. Well, one of these never, and two of these one time in very small amounts.
You two, where's the market going to be in a year? Oh, down 1,000 points there, Leo.
You up 1,000 points. One of you's gonna look pretty stupid in a year. Yeah.
What do you got, Will?
So, the John J. Bowman. Well, I'll start in order. A. E.H. Taylor, small batch.
Okay. I'm surprised at how much spice that had compared to the other
See,
two.
that's why I didn't think it was going to be that spicy.
Yeah.
B is Four Roses.
Son of a bitch. So C is the...
C is the John J. Bowman.
Wow, that's surprising. I took the John J. Bowman over Taylor.
Yeah. I could make that mistake, but you...
Yeah, you took both of you took Taylor over Four Roses
yeah.
and Bowman.
So it was. Give me those again, Will.
So C, or you want me to start?
What
Sorry.
was John J. Bowman?
John J. Bowman was C.
What was E.H. Taylor?
A.
All right. Perfect. Just putting in my notes.
Sure.
There you go. Speaking about notes and writing. You like that transition there?
Yeah.
Have you heard about the Writers Guild strike?
Yes.
Have you heard what they want.
No.
Okay. I didn't think the Writers Guild strike was interesting because all it does is fuck off TV, right? Like majorly.
Yeah.
Like that season, the last time they went on strike.
It fucks up your world quite a lot.
It does. Okay. So, but here I wrote down this specific what they're fighting for. Okay. Between the two factions of the Writers Guild strike, there's 11,000 people. They want higher pay.
Well, that goes without saying.
Stable pay, more fair deals, and my personal favorite, provisions against and about artificial intelligence.
Well, yeah, this is a problem, right? Well, the other problem is, what do they mean by fair deals, though?
I guess. So I was looking into writers.
Is this part of it going from like stable sort of sitcom work for years into gig economy, like write for this show for 3 weeks and then you're done?
Yeah, I guess because the market, you're no longer writing 27 scripts for a show.
Yeah.
Right? You're not doing like crazy sitcoms. You're doing these 10 episode mini movies. So I think it hasn't transitioned over to meet the streaming market effectively, which makes sense because the last time they had a strike, it was like 2006 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. So they want fairer deals, which I think what it means basically is just, some people are still writing for ABC for whatever, this show, that show. And yeah, it's popular. And then other guys are on Hulu for 10 episodes and they're making twice as much because Hulu just says, cool, good job, thanks.
Well, streaming service just pays better, essentially.
Does it? I thought the problem was that
yes
streaming
and
services
no.
paid less.
Yeah, it's more. I guess it's easier to get paid.
Like they pay more initially, but it's like if you're talking about a bi-weekly salary, they pay more. But the problem is, it might only be one bi-weekly payment, and then you're done.
Right.
Right, because you like think about how they do it now, right? TV shows are basically filmed like movies, so the whole script has to be done before you even get to principal photography.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Now, I know that for certain things, you still have the writer on set, essentially, like the chief writer,
The set writer.
and if they allow improvisation or changes, like on Picard, the last season.
Yeah.
If something didn't make sense to one of the characters, like they would go to Terry Metalis and be like, hey, I think we should say this instead of that. And he was totally open for it. He was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let's change the script. So that, those all coming together. The other part of that, too, was like, I guess it's really easy to write for certain, it's really easy to get your show off onto certain companies now, even if you're not in the Writers Guild. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and you could write a TV show tomorrow.
And sell it off to Amazon or something?
Yeah, exactly. For whatever. And then they just turn around and use, one of their shill writers as the person who gets the credit for it.
Yeah.
So we get paid off. And then some shill writer gets, $10 an hour to basically be the writer.
Basically gets a flat fee to use his name.
Yeah,
They're like, here's $3,000. We're going to use your name.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Which is great for a singular payment for doing nothing, but unless it's coming in on a regular basis, you don't have a regular salary.
Yeah. So I approve of what they want. But the preparations and care about artificial intelligence got me to giggle because I was like, wait a minute, are you afraid that ChatGPT can write a better TV show than you can? Admittedly, with some of the crap that I've watched recently, that's probably true.
No, I mean, some of the writing lately has been terrible. But the other side of that is the way corporations work and the way they evaluate costs. If they can produce 80% of the show for a tenth of the cost, they're going to do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, none of these people have set their mind's eye on creating the best written shows they can. I feel like those days are long gone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Sorkin doing TV shows anymore, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Hashtag still not prodigal son.
Yeah, still not Prodigal Son. That show needs to fucking come back. Somebody buy that bitch.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
great?
and
That would be cool.
Mindhunters.
Yes, Mindhunter season 3 needs to fucking happen. Netflix, go
I mean,
fuck yourself.
these shows were incredible.
Yeah, it's
And we're getting just hot
Junk.
garbage.
Yeah, we're getting junk now.
Well, so here's the thing, though, right? Some good TV shows did come out of this Writers Guild strike
Yeah.
because the other side of this, which my favorite part is the picket jumpers.
Oh, yeah. Well, every strike has
Yeah.
them.
So these are the guys who have been sitting on shit that they haven't been able to sell for a while.
Oh, and they're like, hey,
And
we
and
got this thing.
All of a sudden, you go, I've been writing this for 10 years. You need a TV show.
Yeah.
And some good shit comes out of these. So I appreciate if this goes as long as it needs to get some good shit out of it, I'm for it.
Yeah, that's going to
Although-
hurt the writers more, not less.
Disappointingly, the guy for Andor said he's not going to do any work while this is going on, which means that Andor may now take longer to come out.
Well, then it would be just like the show.
Yeah.
Do you think Andor's actually
Does
gonna
does
come out?
Andor need a writer?
I don't know. I don't know who's writing for Andor.
I don't think they want you to know.
I don't think so either.
It was. Did you ever start watching
No,
that?
he
I never.
Okay.
I haven't. So I haven't.
Well, it's going to be worse. Have you heard about the next season?
No.
So
Do
the
I
ne-
want to?
The next season.
Don't
okay,
don't crush me.
is supposed to be like a lot more fast paced.
Well, that would be hard to do.
Apparently, all the episodes take place over 3 days.
The Two Towers was more fast paced than
Yeah.
the first
But-
season of Andor.
But apparently, it's like 2 episodes, 3 days. 2 episodes, 3 days. And then it ends with the 3 days before Rogue One. Apparently.
Oh, so that'll be the end of the show then.
Yes. Andor is 2 seasons because it butts up right to the Rogue One.
Okay.
Or 3 days before Rogue One, I guess.
I know you didn't like Rogue One,
I've come to appreciate Rogue One.
have
Oh,
you? After the
really?
sequels
After-
came out,
after
you were.
the terrible trilogy that is hot garbage. You have to
Me-
go back and go, we made 2 really good movies. It was the Han Solo movie and Rogue One. And you go, those movies actually aren't bad if you reevaluate them.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing how good those movies get in context.
They get a lot better.
I mean the sequels were terrible.
They are. Well, the trequel.
I don't care what you call it.
It's called the trequel because it's the 3rd sequel.
They were awful. It's
Yeah.
not the 3rd sequel because the first one was a prequel,
Yes.
and it would be the second.
That's true. It is the prequel, isn't it?
It's the only actual sequel,
Yeah, well,
but they're terrible.
they are.
How many plot lines did they fuck off? How much Deus Ex was used?
It should have just been called the Deus Ex.
Where it should have ended, honestly, what they should have done. The purple-haired lady should have killed everyone in that ship by not missing,
Yeah, again,
and then started over.
yes, because you're on a Carillion cruiser,
Yeah,
which is designed to transport a large galactic vessel through hyperspace with pinpoint precision. Keyword there, pinpoint precision.
yeah, and she missed over half a mile.
And she missed.
Yeah, everyone should have died.
Like up
Start over.
close, like it's like holding a shotgun to a wall and not hitting the wall with birdshot.
Yeah,
And it was embarrassing. And from that moment on, you just go, "The fuck are we doing? Like what the fuck?"
and
are
what
we
was the
doing?
point of her storyline anyway?
To crash the ship? Prove that women are terrible drivers. There, I said it.
There, I said it. That's all I'm thinking. That's when I saw that. So it's like she missed.
Yeah.
She.
Yeah.
How did she miss?
It's right there. I know.
So no, I have not watched Andor nor The Mandalorian, nor Picard.
Mandalorian. Well, you saw some of Picard.
Yes.
The Mandalorian was. I will give it a better than average score, but only just.
Well, the last episode really saves it. And not kind
Yeah.
of, but it does.
But even the last episode.
is not the greatest episode.
I mean, whoever wrote that, there's no actual. First of all, there's no dialogue. It's just a bunch of monologues strung together. It's like preachy, like standing at a podium scene, cut. Next character's turn for preachy standing at a podium scene.
Yeah, they're
it's-
like talking at each other, not
At,
to each other.
at no point is there real dialogue in this episode. Now, admit it, like the action was better, but it should have been directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Some of those scenes would have been
That whole episode would have been amazing.
Great.
Directed by Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. Boom.
And then the dialogue becomes superfluous anyway.
Right. What dialogue?
Yeah.
There's no dialogue in any of those Transformers.
And
movies.
we could have gotten a Transformer Easter egg.
This is true. This is true. I'm excited about that next
I'm
Transformers.
definitely looking forward to that movie coming out.
Yeah, see, I'm looking forward to that one too.
When does that come out?
June.
Okay. Everything's in June.
Yeah, I'm actually it's funny, but that Gran Turismo movie looks good too. But only because it's the real story of that kid.
Wait, what's the other one that you want to see? The magic and the elf and the whatever and the dragons. There's
Dungeons and
dragons.
Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, because I'm gonna watch it. It's on the Amazon.
Because what's his face is the bard.
Yeah, Captain Kirk. Chris Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine is the
Chris
bard.
Pine is the bard. Yeah, that's all you need.
You see him with the loot, and you're like, I'm in.
Well, here's the thing. So if you've never seen the original Dungeons and Dragons movie from 2001,
I've not.
first of all, Jeremy Irons is in it. I don't know how the fuck they got Jeremy Irons in that movie. It's probably one of those movies where like he needed money. It's because Jeremy Irons is a really good actor.
It's
And that
Jerry
movie
Irons' League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
It is, because that movie is hot garbage. He plays a wizard trying to control red dragons. And his arch nemesis is this 14-year-old girl who can control gold dragons. And Damon Wayans is in it.
Ah,
Okay.
Yeah. He plays like a thief guy with this pretty boy dude from Baywatch who's also a thief. It's terrible. It's hot garbage.
Hey, aren't we getting another Bad Boys?
Yes, Will
We
Smith announced after the slap, post-slap Will, that Bad Boys 4 is happening.
Is anyone going to watch that at this point?
No.
Bad Boys 3 was not great.
Bad Boys, yeah, I felt like, I know they left it open, but you've killed the best character
Yeah.
because no one's replacing the police captain.
Yeah.
Like, he makes the whole, like, each one of those movies, the captain makes that movie.
Oh my God. What if you could get I doubt he's even still alive because he was old when he did it, and he'd be too old. But if you could bring him from that era, what if you could get Captain Harris?
Oh, yeah. I'm down for that. Down for that.
Do you know what we're talking about?
No.
You don't even like the movie. It's the captain from Police Academy.
oh, that guy.
Hard ass.
Yeah.
No.
I know, how do you not like Police Academy?
I-
It's just so odd.
Anyway, moving right along.
So odd.
I just
I mean, I know someone who literally named their Smith & Wesson police Mahoney.
so I'm not saying it doesn't have some funny stuff, for sure.
It does.
But-
it's got funny stuff in
Yeah, but it's. I mean,
it. 2, 3, and 4 have Bobcat Goldthwait.
yeah, but that's after the meds.
No, it's before.
Yeah, 2 has got to be before the
2 is
meds.
definitely before all the medication for sure. Yeah.
I have a feeling they couldn't control him on set in 2.
Oh, I don't think you could. Still, I'll tell you his greatest TV show ever is Happily Ever After.
Never saw it.
Never saw it.
It's it's like 94. It was the. So Married with Children was really popular.
Yes.
Right? This was the show that someone made to compete with Married with Children.
Not possible, first of all.
Yeah.
But the guy who was basically Al Bundy, right, the dad,
Was Bobcat Goldthwait?
no,
Oh.
was this guy who was completely miserable and would go into his basement to talk to a bunny puppet that was voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, wait, no. I did see an episode of that at some point.
Yes. It's Happily Ever After is the name of the show, and it's fucking hilarious.
I
because
remember
he's the
remember
only
that to
one
some extent.
that can
yeah.
talk to the fucking bunny in the basement, and that's like his happy place. Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
who tried
you
to
have
do?
to tell people that show, and they go, "That's not a show," and you go, "It is.
It's a thing.
It's on YouTube."
You know
if
who
you
tried to
haven't
do that and failed miserably was Elliot from Special Victims Unit. I don't know the guy's, I don't know the actor's name, but he tried to do that with
Elias or something.
We'll talk about people who couldn't do anything. The dude that played Al Bundy, I can't think of his name at the moment.
Yes, I had it a moment ago.
Oh, am I gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just talk. We're going to cut it short. So we were screwing around with these cameras for a long time. They're all going to die.
Yeah.
But I forget what, it was a court movie. What's the guy's name that plays Al Bundy?
Oh my God.
Yeah, how do
Ed O'Neill.
Yes. There you go.
Ed O'Neill. So he stands up as an attorney, right? And they've got a bunch of extras in the back. And like 10 of them at the same time, completely unrehearsed. They didn't even know it was coming. Go, oh my God, Al Bundy's an attorney. They couldn't even cast him with extras because of that role. He basically didn't do anything until Modern Family.
Yeah, and even then you just go, isn't this just Al Bundy?
Yeah, isn't this just an older, more curmudgeon-y Al Bundy?
It's Al Bundy, but like after he got divorced from Pam.
Yeah.
Like that's I tell the story for Modern Family. It's just a continuation.
Yeah, but he's a lot more polished.
I think
He was pretty polished then to pull off that role.
Well,
Yeah, he also is surrounded by crazier actors
True.
now. I feel like
Oh.
he's the same guy. Like Sofia Varga's crazy. Like let's be fair.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, roles that keyhole you, that's got to be at the top of the list.
Well, that was Shatner's problem forever,
Yeah,
which he hated,
yeah.
and then he did.
Not, what's his face's problem? Patrick Stewart.
No, because even though Patrick Stewart, like you see him and you go, that's Picard. I think there's still enough people that look at him and go, dude, that's fucking Patrick Stewart. Did
Yeah.
you see him in King Lear? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done some stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was never. Oh, didn't you see Captain Kirk as T.J.
But-
Hooker?
Listen, talk about how random, like, how did they get this guy for that role when they were first relaunched, when the Next Generation was first happening, right? Probably not a huge amount of faith in this show. And they get Patrick Stewart to sign on as Picard.
Well, yeah, he had nothing to do for a year. He was fine.
Yeah, but he didn't even live in the country.
No,
But he's
he didn't buy an apartment for 2 years either.
Yeah.
He just lived on his best friend's couch.
But we talk about real actors showing up for random roles.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the best part though.
all right,
Like
guys.
Christopher Walken does that all the time.
We'll talk about Trump's town hall next week
Oh, that fiasco.
Oh, and the
unfortunately.
the NFL schedule.
and the NFL schedule next week.
Yeah.
Everything else can wait.
Yep.
All right, till next time. Casey, Will, Lane,
Good night.
good night.
And if you've made it this far, like and subscribe. Please. It's for Will.